$7,900 to fix my car, that seems like a lot of money. It's expensive to fix cars today.
There you go.
The insurance company thinks it's worth $4,300 to fix it. What are your options? Well, your one option is you can take it to one of their preferred collision centers that are on their list of direct repair partnerships.
Is that a good option?
That's a horrific option, in my opinion.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer. That's Robert Grieve. And we are always grateful that you are taking time out of your day to join us for ours. Rob, I got to tell you, I'm excited about today. We're going to talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts, and something that you need to be aware of. If you haven't yet, click the thumbs up or the subscribe button. Now's a great time to take care of that business.
Yeah, just get her done.
And then we'll get on with ours. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
To you,
Thank you.
my dear friends. It is so much fun joining with you on Saturday morning and having a little chit-chat back and forth that we do. I've got some wonderful new people joining in, and you make our Saturday morning, I have to tell you that.
Absolutely. All right, so let me set the stage for you. We have done a couple of different videos and certainly written a few different blogs on our website about the topic of something called the Appraisal Clause. And a situation came through our doors that we wanted to kind of share with you. And it's kind of one of those things that you need to be reminded of on an occasional basis, just so that you know that you have options. At least most of you do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Rob, how did I do? Did I tee it up okay?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, let's go with body shops looking at a 2019 Subaru Outback.
Okay.
They write a thorough repair plan. That thorough repair plan comes up to $7,900.
Okay.
The insurance company, they write their own estimate. They arrive at $4,374.
That's a big difference.
That's a $3,526 difference. Plus, the guest has a $750 deductible.
Right.
So their total out of pocket to get this car repaired
Properly
would be $4,276. That's outrageous. That is outrageous.
I agree.
Shouldn't have to pay anything more than your deductible.
Right.
So now, what are your options? Who do you believe? How could this possibly be? How can you tell me a $7,900 job I owe $4,276 for out of my pocket?
Right.
When I have insurance?
Yeah.
And this happens day in and day out, and it is happening more and more often, that these large amounts of money are being required to repair the vehicle properly.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know that you have options depending on your situation. So, in this particular case, the person's going through their own insurance company.
Okay.
That is a different case than if they were going through somebody else's insurance company. If you're going through the at-fault party's insurance, then first off, you wouldn't have a deductible.
Right.
But herein lies the problem. You also don't have the ability to invoke the appraisal clause, because that's only contained in your insurance policy. If you're going through the other person's insurance and you land up in this situation, you may land up having to sue that person personally.
Okay.
At which point, generally speaking, their insurance would have to defend them in court. And many times it's not worth the legal costs, and they pay the bill.
I see. So let me see, just if I summarize what I just heard you say, is if you are, if your car is damaged by somebody else,
Yep.
and the at-fault party's insurance company is going to pay for the correct repair,
Yes.
and if there is a chasm of difference as we described,
The divergence.
the $3,500 difference or $35 difference,
Doesn't matter.
right? You do not have the benefit of your appraisal clause because that is your
Only in your
insurance
policy. Protecting you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll talk about that. But so if there is that $3,500 difference and you want that $3,500 because
You didn't wreck your car.
somebody has to pay for it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Then you may end up having to sue the party
That hit you.
that hit you, and their insurance company would have to defend you.
Defend them.
I'm sorry, defend them. And then, in many cases, not all cases, the insurance company, rather than doing that whole dog and pony show, just pays the balance
It does happen.
and let it go. Okay.
Every situation is a little bit different.
Of course, and I hope you understand that as well. But wow.
So,
Okay.
let's talk about this situation.
Yep.
This person went through their own insurer.
Okay.
And their own insurer that they've been paying premiums to for this policy wrote basically half.
Right.
That's all they're willing to fund, less the deductible. So it's not even half.
Right.
And so now here we have a shop. In this case, it's us, but it happens all over the country every day. $7,900 to fix my car, that seems like a lot of money. It's expensive to fix cars today.
There you go.
The insurance company thinks it's worth $4,300 to fix it. What are your options? Well, your one option is you can take it to one of their preferred collision centers that are on their list of direct repair partnerships.
Is that a good option?
That's a horrific option in my opinion, but because you're going to get $4,200 worth of, or $4,300 worth of work done when your vehicle may need $7,900 worth of work done.
Right. That would probably include cutting corners on
Lots.
procedures,
Parts.
as well as using aftermarket or recycled salvaged parts. Yikes.
So you're kind of stuck in the middle. Now I have some decisions I have to make.
Right.
Do I pull the car out and take it to another shop to have them fix it? So all I have to do is pay my deductible, because that's a guarantee if you take it to one of their shops. All you have to come out of pocket is for your deductible.
Okay.
But what am I going to get? Is my car going to be ruined? Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
We've got plenty of videos that show you what happens when you go down that road.
It's so true.
Or you can invoke your appraisal clause. Your appraisal clause is going to do a couple things.
Okay.
First off, it's going to set your mind at ease that the repair shop was right or wrong, or the insurance company was right or wrong.
How does that work?
Well, we're going to get into that. But first, to find your appraisal clause, which in Colorado and many other states, most policies have the appraisal clause provision. State Farm in Colorado and many other states does not have that for repairable vehicles, only if your vehicle is deemed a total loss.
Right.
So if your vehicle is going to get repaired and you're in this scenario and you have State Farm, all you're going to get is $4,374, not $7,900. because that's all they're going to pay.
And because
And you
it's-
don't have any arbitration provision in your policy to help you the way most every other policy in Colorado and other states does.
And because it's that way written into your policy, your arms are tied and you agreed to it. It's what you purchased.
Right.
Whether or not you actually read the policy. And trust me when I say, when you purchase the policy, they're not going to bring it up.
No, of course not. Of course not. So if you want to know if you have the appraisal clause, pull out your policy, go to the section that says coverage for damage to your auto,
Okay.
and almost the very last paragraph in almost every instance is the appraisal clause. And it does not say appraisal clause. It usually says appraisal or right to appraisal or something along that lines.
Right.
So let me read it to you real quick.
Okay.
And there could be some variation to this wording, but the principle is all here.
All right.
If we and you do not agree on the amount of the loss, either may demand an appraisal of the loss. In this event, each party will select a competent appraiser. The two appraisers will select an umpire. The appraisers will state separately the actual cash value and the amount of loss. If they fail to agree, they will submit their differences to an umpire. A decision agreed by any two will be binding. So, and this goes on to say you have to pay for your own appraiser
Okay.
and bear the expenses of half the umpire, if there's an umpire needed.
So both parties share that.
Share the umpire.
Okay.
So, if you call your insurance company because they wrote $4,300 on a $7,900 repair and they won't come to the table, your next thing is say, tell me about the appraisal clause. Do I have the appraisal clause in my policy, and how does that work? Just be nice about it. And they're going to have to explain this to you, if they even know. There are many, many companies out there, good companies, that handle these types of situations as your appraiser. For the car that we're talking about, we used our friend David at Auto Damage Experts.
Yep.
And
They're an independent appraiser.
independent appraiser.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that he has to gain is his fee. And the fee is paid by the insured, and then the other company, the insurance company, has to hire an outside person, so they have to pay for that person.
And that person is also neutral and independent.
Neutral. Yep, neutral and independent. And then, if need be, if they can't come together,
Right.
then they hire an umpire.
Yep.
And the umpire makes the final determination.
Okay.
So, it sounds complex. It's really not all that bad. What it is time consuming. And you're adding a little bit more expense onto things.
Yeah.
But you're not adding that kind of expense onto things.
Right. And when you say time consuming, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few months, in addition to the repair itself. So, just set your expectations for that as well, because if this is your only vehicle, you may run into other issues with rental coverage running out
Yep.
or other expenses.
All of that. So now many times when you have that conversation about, tell me about the appraisal clause with the insurance company, they may turn around and say, you know what, let me have somebody else take a look at this. Because they don't really want to go down that road either.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they don't want to go down that road is because they don't win very often. They don't win very often.
You should put a flag in that right there, and perhaps remember that.
Yeah. So, in this particular case, it went through the two appraisers. Two appraisers couldn't agree, went to an umpire, and I have here an appraisal provision award. And it says, the decision was based on, but not limited to, an extensive review of provided documentation reports submitted by assigned appraisers and any additional research conducted by the undersigned. This decision does not take into account any actual costs for necessary post-repair, calibrations, or associated fees. And the umpire awarded $7,303.
Wow.
So that's 3 people that are outside the box
Right.
that aren't even here looking at the vehicle.
Yeah.
They're just going by the pictures and all the rest of that. They say $7,300. We were at $7,900.
That's within the margin of error.
If you add on the calibrations that they still owe for, it's $7,900.
Amazing. You know, the accuracy of the blueprint, and we're choosing our words carefully, right? Mm-hmm. The blueprint or the repair plan, those 2 words are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. The accuracy of that, and that comes from the shop, is far greater, far more accurate than somebody out in the street, or even worse, in a cubicle looking at pictures and saying, this is all we're going to pay and that's all we're going to do.
Yeah.
So,
But this appraisal clause is a very powerful piece of your policy, as you can see.
Yeah.
Now, it took a couple of months to get here, which is disappointing. But what's even more disappointing is that we even had to go through that to begin with.
Right.
And every time we have gone through this situation, we have prevailed. And that's 2 or 3 people outside of here looking at the information and saying, nope, that's the right amount of money. And remember our first option, you could have pulled it out for the $4,300 and taken it to one of their shops and got it fixed and only paid your deductible. God only knows what you would have received back.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been $7,900 worth of repairs.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, Rob, you know, again, we post these videos so that you, the driving community, will be aware of what goes on behind the scenes. I got a question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask, but you've owned Nylunds for, what, 18?
Coming up on?
Yeah, 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
You say every time that you've gone through this kind of a thing, you and your guest have prevailed.
Yeah. They agree.
More than once, more than 10?
Oh, way more than 10.
Yeah.
Way more than 10. But I got to tell you, many of those times, the insurance company had somebody else take a look at it, and we got to where we needed to get to.
You don't
without having to go through all that.
Yeah.
But unless you have some sort of leverage, $4,300 is what you're going to get for that $8,000 job.
And here's the leverage. It's the correct repair.
The correct repair. In this case, the way Subaru wants it done.
You know, my grandma used to say, if you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about what you said.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yeah. This is not something that we want to go through over and over and over again. Nobody does, especially you, the driving public.
Right.
It's very important to pick your policies wisely, who you're insuring with. Take a look at that video from last week where we talk about how the insurers are performing,
Yeah.
Rated by shops across the nation.
Yeah. If your insurer is in the lower 2/3 of that report,
It probably is.
might be time to look for a different policy.
Yeah.
Might you pay a little extra in your monthly premiums? You might.
Yeah, but it's not going to be $4,000.
It's not. And it might not even be that much more.
Yeah.
So
the many policies, if you really shop and go with a good insurer, they may actually even be less with better coverage.
there you go.
I just experienced that this week, renewing a policy. So,
Well, Rob,
so
thank
that's
you.
what I have for you today.
Thank you for bringing this, and thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end here. Again, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it. It helps YouTube share this with other people, and that's not small money. So thanks again for bringing it to our attention. Have a happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, my dear friends. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. Thanks for your comments in advance and your likes in advance. And I can't wait to see you next week.